Hey everybody, in this tutorial we're going to talk about how you can take a 2D caricature image of any person and turn it into a 3D head, like the image of, or the 3D head of Samuel L. Jackson. Here we have the stylized shading version of Samuel L. Jackson that we have on the screen right here. So we're going to be learning how to do that in just a moment. But first of all, Mr. Samuel L. Jackson has something to say for you guys.
I'm sorry, did I break your concentration?
So you can see we got some nice facial animation on him, and he's fully functional as a 3D head, even though he looks like a 2D model, or like a 2D caricature. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this. To do that, we're going to start with a new project. We don't need to save this for now. And let's go ahead and create a new actor. So the image we're going to be using, I'm going to select a 3D head here. The image we're going to be using, I'm going to load it up right now. This is an image from a website called wilsonsketchblog.blogspot.com. You can find that as well as along with a whole bunch of other cool looking caricatures, well done caricatures on that site. So we can just zoom in here. You can see the URL there at the bottom if you want to check that out. But I'm just going to go ahead and do the face fitting process here. Now, if you're not familiar with this, I'd encourage you to check out our more beginner tutorials that go into more detail on the facial fitting. I'm just going to do this pretty quick because we don't want to spend too much time, waste too much time on this part of the procedure. We're just going to set our facial fitting points, the cheek, and this one goes on the outside of the jaw. You can see because he's so stylized, his proportions are a little bit out of whack, but we can always, fix those later on with morphing. So let's just go ahead and quickly place all these points here, and we'll go to the next step. And as we load him into the 3D face profile selector, you can see we have all these options for facial profiles. This one doesn't really suit him, the base one. We can try this African one. And you can see it looks a little bit better for our style that we want to accomplish here. And I think we'll just go ahead and work with that. So we're not going to spend too much time on this. We'll go to the next step here. And this is the fun stuff. This is where we get to place all our fitting points for the facial morphs. So I'm just going to do this as quick as possible here. Again, if you don't have, if you have any questions about what to place where, you can check out our other plethora of tutorials on facial fitting and all that fun stuff. Let's just go through this as quick as possible here. Just try and get everything as semi-accurate, anyways. So you want to place these little eye spots along the outer edge of the eyes or eyelid. The nose. As a rule of thumb for the nose, I tend to put this little circular area in the middle, just to kind of like have it go around the lower bulb of the nose there. So something like that is normally okay. And we want to expand the nostrils here. His nostrils are, quite exaggerated in this image. Just make sure that when you stretch them out, that the black outline of your drawing kind of corresponds to where you want your character's actual nose morph to be. Otherwise, it'll look kind of weird. And let's do the nostrils here. Let's take this one out. We're just going to place them. We're not going to exaggerate the nostrils too much. We're going to cheat a little bit on the nostrils actually. So let's go ahead and work with this. Something like that. Just get rid of that little nose area there. And we have to. Because his nostrils are really exaggerated, we need to kind of work a little bit with the system here and try and get the nose in a reasonable size. Okay, I think that's good. And we'll go to the mouth now. His mouth is a little bit curved, which obviously isn't ideal, but we'll work with it. Let's create a sort of a different type of mouth here. Make sure that that is right there, and this one is along the line, and I think we're good to go. And to the face. Now the face section here is where you can, obviously change certain facial features quite significantly, like this forehead, for example. We can really expand that outwards, make him look like an alien. I think his head is obviously fairly exaggerated in the image to the left. These side fitting points are pretty important because you can really take the character's, the middle section of the head inwards like this. And I like to do that often with my characters. The chin, his chin is quite narrow on the caricature, so we'll try and narrow the chin out a little bit as well on both sides here. Don't worry about where the actual fitting points are on the left image. Focus more on the results of the morph on the right. And you'll notice that we have already some purple showing up here from the actual background. we don't really need to worry about that right now. We'll fix that later on when we adjust all the textures and all that fun stuff. We'll probably expand the chin a little bit there as well. All right, I think we're going to just work with this for now, and then we'll go to all. You can mess around with the eyes and the mouth, calibrate those if you want. We're not going to worry about that step right now. Side fitting, we don't really need to worry too much about it. The eye, the nose, and the mouth, everything looks pretty fine. We'll go to texture blending here. Now this is where we want to focus on kind of getting our blend type right. We need to make sure that we use this blend type number 3 to get as much of the original material as possible, especially along the forehead. And you can see it's showing more of that purple stuff on the side there. Don't worry about that. And you also want to make sure that you take off your skin roughness, because we don't want to simulate, a character like a real life skin texture. We want to get more of a comic appearance. We want to take off that skin roughness. And then we can go to the detailed morph. And in detailed morph, this is where you can have fun adjusting the features according to the caricature on the right. So say, for example, I can probably extend his cheekbones out a little bit. He has fairly prominent cheekbones in the caricature. Give those a little bit more height. We don't want to bulge them out. Probably the forehead. Go to the side. The cranium slope we can adjust. I'm going to give him more brow depth. Forehead angle, forehead width. I think the forehead width is already pretty wide, and I think we're just going to keep it around where it is right now. We can probably decrease that temple size because it seems like his temples are quite small over here. And then we'll go with the nose. I think the nose, we don't really need to worry too much about it. We can round out the nose tip a little bit. We don't want to point the nose a little too much. Nose tip bulge, we can make it bulge. I don't think we'll do that. Nose bridge width, you can see this one affects the cell shading in the middle quite significantly. We'll try and keep it as close to the original as possible, something like that. And I think we're not going to worry about the rest of the stuff. Cheek, mouth, we don't need to worry about the mouth, the jaw. Yeah, I think jaw, it looks fairly close to the original anyways. Again, we can worry about the textures later on. So let's just go ahead and select apply. So at this step right here, we're going to load that character, or load that 2D image into a 3D model in Crazy Talk 8 here. And you can see that obviously, unless we want him to have some sort of weird texture on the side of his face, we need to do something about this. So what I'm going to do first here is we're going to go ahead and save this project. I'm going to save it to my desktop. We'll just call it Sam. Go ahead and save that out. And then what I want to do is I'm going to load in this Nasser character, and I'll show you why in just a sec. We're going to load in this Nasser character because he's a pretty similar character to what we're looking for. We want to get a nice cel-shaded, three-tone character like this. So we're going to use his texture as a reference. To find his textures, we can go up here to the texture settings, and there's a skin and a body, skin body and skin head item right here. You can see those. What I want to do is save those out. So the skin body we're going to kind of use later for the tuxedo. So let's go ahead and save that out. We'll call it Nasser body to our desktop. And then the same thing with the skin and head. We'll call this Nasser head. So these are the head and the body textures that we need to later apply to our Sam character. All right, so let's load up the project of Samuel L. Jackson again. And what we need to do now is export his facial texture. So let's do that. Head texture rather. Texture settings again. And we're not going to worry about his body because we're going to replace the body completely. We'll just go to skin, head, and save the diffuse. And we'll call it Sam head. Okay. And all of our textures have now been saved out. So let's go ahead into Photoshop now, which I have open here. And we're going to open up those three textures, which we saved to our desktop. We control select them, hold control and select them. We can select all three, Nasser body, Nasser head, and Sam head, and open them up. All right, and if I press Control, Alt, and I, if I press Control, Alt, and I, you can see that we have the 2048 by 2048 image size, and that's the same for all of the textures, Nasser head, Sam head, and Nasser body. So what we're going to do is we're going to select everything on the Nasser head. We're going to press Control A and Control C to select everything and copy it. Then we're going to go to Sam head and Control V, and that'll paste it onto another layer. Now what I want to do here is just basically select everything. We can take off that background. Select everything that is not the skin. So you can see here we have a sort of kind of like pink faded skin color stuff going on around the outsides. We don't have to worry about that at all when we're doing our texture. All we need to worry about is the stuff that is colored according to Nasser's skin color. So let's go ahead and use, there's a quick little tool you can use called Select and Color Range. And you go up here to, there's a preset called Skin Tones, and you can see everything that is white is the stuff that is selected. That's because I have it inverted here. If I don't invert it, basically all that skin tone stuff that I showed you before is selected. So everything that's white is selected here. I want to select invert because I only want to select this stuff in the middle. I don't want to select that pink stuff that was on the outside. We can increase or decrease the fuzziness to determine, what gets selected and what doesn't. This, we can probably get as close to it as possible. I think that should be fine. It's not really, you don't really have to worry too much about this step. I'm just going to go ahead and press OK. And that's going to select that, most of the stuff anyways. Anything else that we want to be included, we can just lasso it. We can use the lasso tool up here. Hold shift and kind of just, select the areas that we want to include. Basically everything that's not the this color over here, we want to include it. So hold shift and just create a lasso around the stuff that you want to select. We don't really have to worry about the face stuff. But we'll just select it anyways, just for fun. There you go. And the ear as well. I guess the ear texture is pretty close to that skin texture. And then we can probably, on this area over here, use our quick selection tool. Hold shift and select this. Yeah, okay, and then click and drag. Alright, that seems to be working. And we don't have to use the lasso, we can use a quick selection as well. Alright, so basically everything that's selected right now is the stuff that we need. So what I can do is just basically hide this right now and show my background. And you can see over here, this is the area that we need to fill in with our original skin texture. So we can go ahead and do that, and the easiest way to do so is basically just to go ahead and use our paintbrush tool. Let's make sure we're on the background layer here. And hold the Alt key, and that will give us a little dropper tool. We can click to get the color that we want, and then we can use the bracket keys to expand our brush size, and then just basically draw over. We're going to use the neutral skin tone. Notice this character has three separate kind of skin tones. There is the dark one over here. There's the even darker one underneath the eyebrows there, beside the nose. And then there's a lighter tone on the top of the cheek there, and on this side of the body, the color that we currently have selected. So let's go ahead and let's use that. I'm not sure why my computer's making all those noises, but let's just go ahead and draw everything. We're going to fill everything in with that color. And you need to be careful around the ear areas. And I'll show you why in just a sec here. For the neck here, that's a little bit tricky. The neck, we can probably just notice that this area right here is a little bit darker than the rest of it. We can just fill that in. This area over here. What I want to make sure I do is keep a sort of a. I'm using a really big brush right now. It's kind of making me nervous. I'm going to make sure that we keep these kind of black lines generally where they are right now. So let's go ahead and use the Alt key and click over here to get our darker color. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Now, the thing about the dark area is we want to make sure that we have this sort of a head curve. The area that's kind of curving around the forehead like this. We're just going to kind of wing it right now. We can refine it a little bit later on. But we want to basically just make sure that we make all this skin tones, all this skin darker color. And then we can fill this one in with the lighter color, just like that. I'm using a mouse here, so apologies for the kind of messy lines and everything. Let's kind of try and get rid of those little areas there in between. All right, this is going to be kind of messy, but we'll work with it and we'll refine it later on. So now I'm just going to fill in the rest of this stuff right now that needs to be filled in. I'm going to speed it up for you guys so you don't have to see me paint this whole time, and then we're going to come back. Alright, so now we're pretty much done with the basics. Let's go ahead and switch to the ears now. So for the ears, all I'm going to do is basically just copy and paste the ears from layer 1. So let's go ahead and select that, and let's make sure we get one of the ears selected here. Let's use the magic wand tool. I can press Control D to deselect the current selection, and let's zoom in, holding Alt and scrolling our mouse button. And let's just select this area right here. Oh, that worked pretty well. Okay, let's just go ahead and use our lasso tool again, and hold Shift and select this inner ear area. And we can hold Alt and deselect this area. We don't really need to do this, but just makes it a little bit cleaner. Alright, so let's work with this. I'm going to press Control C, and I'm going to go by background layer, make this layer visible, press Control V, and paste that right in. So now, at this point, what I want to do here is I want to just make those colors the same as the general colors on our Samuel L. Jackson face. So all I need to do in this case then is I'm going to select my paint tool one more time and hold Alt again, select this area, and we're just going to basically paint over the entire. Again, we don't have to be clean. We can just pretty much be sloppy around the edges as much as we want. All that really matters is the inner ear area there at this point here. So just paint over that all. And we want to try and get the inner ear area to be a little bit darker than the rest. And we do want to keep those black dividing lines as well. So let's just go ahead and do that. Oops, that was a little bit messy. Right here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and skip through this part as well so you guys don't have to watch me. I'm just basically going to be doing some painting here. Alright, so now because we saved this ear on a separate layer, we copied it from one to the other and automatically created a new layer. What I can do is I can just go ahead and make all the layers invisible and just select this layer here. Let's just select the area that we want to with our, let's try the magic wand tool here. That works. And we'll use our lasso tool to get a bit more accurate. That didn't work too well. Let's try it. Press Control D. Let's try the quick selection tool here. There we go. There we go. I think that should work okay. That's fine. And dandy, we can use our lasso tool to just create a little ridge across here. Okay, again, really messy job here, guys. You probably want to spend a bit more time on this. I'm just going to press Control C and Control V, and that's going to create another ear on a separate layer. And let's zoom out a little bit here. And let's press the V hotkey to move that ear over here. And let's bring up Sam's face again here. And we can just basically bring that whole ear over to the other side. And we can press Control T and transform it and bring it like that, right over top of the other ear. And if we want to make it exact, we can go to this layer here. Let's just select this layer, whoops, layer 1, and let's select the ear from this layer here. There we go. And hold Shift and select that area there as well. Good. All right, Control C, Control V, And let's only have this layer, and oops, I want to keep that layer, and this one here. All right, so let's make sure that this layer is actually above that layer. Okay, good. So now we're ready to go, and we'll get that into position right there. And I think we can probably just bring it a little bit further down there as well. Okay, that's going to work. So let's make sure that other layer is invisible. And then this layer, we can probably just color over the entire thing with this black shade of black here, because this side of his face is going to be mostly shaded. So let's go ahead and do that using our brush tool. Notice as well, I'm going to just get rid of this line connecting the cheek and this temple area here. What we're going to do with this temple area is we're going to create sort of a, notice that on the sides of the cheeks there's a little bit of a darker area. We're going to do the same thing on the temple. So I'm just going to click and drag or Alt select that color right there, and we'll do the same thing over here. So let's create a nice little kind of and in addition to that, notice on the original image as well that if we go Alt tab over to the original image, there's a little bit of a kind of a lighter area on his head as well. If we wanted to, we could add that to add a little bit more detail. Let's just zoom in and get this little area right here. And let's zoom out. And we can place that on his forehead. So let's just do something like that. Let's do this little... Alright, so we get that nice haphazard reflection on his head. So I think at this point, everything should be fine and dandy. So let's go ahead and save this out. Let's go File and Save As. And we'll call it, we'll save it as a JPEG here. We'll call it SamHead2. And we'll save it out to our desktop. Make sure you use the maximum value. And let's go into Photoshop mode. Crazy talk rather here. I've been using too much Photoshop. And let's load in that material. So let's go over here to the texture settings, to the skin head, double click on the diffuse channel, and we'll load in SamHead2. And notice when we do that, we have basically our head all fixed up. Let's go ahead and rotate around. You can see the edge. We have that little reflection on the head there as well, a little detail that we added. And the lines that we added on the character as well, those black lines, I kind of refined those a little bit when I was drawing. If you don't want to have those black lines so dark, you can adjust those as well. I just like the kind of chin stuff that we have going on there. Those chin lines may be a bit too thick, but that's generally kind of what I wanted there. And you can see the nice temple lines right there that we added in as well. So that's pretty much good for the head. I think we're okay to move on from the head. The top of the head, you can see that the shadow kind of ends halfway through, and we can adjust that later on as well. But let's focus now on the body. So let's go back into Photoshop here. And let's take a look at Nasser's body. So Nasser's body, pretty simple. It's mostly black, just a little tuxedo thing in the middle there. So what I'm going to do is just basically change those colors that we currently have on Nasser's body. So let's do that. This is the general color. So let's go to Sam's head. I'm going to Alt and let's make sure we have our brush selected. Alt and select this color right here. Go back to Nasser's body, and we'll just go ahead and fill it in. We can just actually select this area to make it a bit easier. There we go. And then just fill her in with our paintbrush. Zoop. There we go. And let's pan over here and Control D, and let's do the same thing. Let's select this area over here, and let's brush in our skin color. Now the neck, I'm going to do something slightly different here. For the neck, I'm going to if you recall on Nasser's neck, it's just basically this dark area is going straight down. Now on Samuel L. Jackson's face, you can notice that it seems like the light is coming from the left side here. So I'm going to kind of try and create a shadow on this side of the neck to kind of indicate the shadow from the chin going down over here. We're just going to go ahead and do that real quick. It'll be pretty simple to do. So first of all, we need to get the same area selected here. Let's just do that. Quick selection tool. I think we can probably select that. Yep, looks good. Okay, so then we'll use the regular color right here, and we'll just do it all the way down and over here and about there. That should be good. But let's go ahead and save this out. Let's save this as Sam's body. All right, so it's called Nasser's body currently. We'll call it Sam body. Save it to our desktop. And back in Crazy Talk, let's go to Sam body. Load in that Sam body right here. And there you go. We have that nice shadow going on this side of the neck. So you can see the result right there. All right, so that's basically about it. That's all there is to it. We have our nice Samuel L. Jackson, cell-shaded head right here, stylized. We could probably do with a little bit less lineage on the chin and everything like that, but it looks pretty decent. We got some nice, comic look. We have a nice comic look here, and I think we're just going to work with that. And you can modify the, the suit and everything like that as you wish. So let's just go ahead and check our facial puppet. Actually, we need to go change the eyes as well first, because these eyes, they're facing the side. They're not going to have good results. So the last thing we want to do is change the eyes. So let's go over here to Actor Elements. And under Actor Elements, you have a folder called Eye. Double click on that. And under Others, you'll find Nasser's eyes. You can add Nasser's eyes to your character, and they look a lot more suitable for comic characters. If you want to adjust the position and color of those eyes, feel free to go in here to eye settings. And I think we're going to, the right eye, his right eye, we're going to move the position a little bit up so we can actually see some of the eye right there. And we'll kind of scale it up a little bit as well, I think. Make it a little bit larger so it's comparable with the other eye. Just make sure it's not too big. And then left eye, we can probably scale that down. There you go. Okay, so that looks fairly decent for me. Make sure we have, and then we can select both eyes here. We can adjust the hue, maybe take it down a little bit. There's something like 10. We can take away the color to give more of a dark brown kind of look right there. I think, not sure what kind of color his eyes have, but we'll work with that, I think. At least it's a bit more brown anyways. And that should be good. All right, so we'll work with that, and we'll just close this down now and show our facial puppeting. You can see the eyes change color there. And give it a shot so we can preview. And there's our angry Samuel L. Jackson right there. So that's about it for the tutorial, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I just wanted to kind of show you the cool procedure of bringing your caricatures to life as a 3D head model, and you can feel free to do this. I'd recommend checking out that Wilson sketch blog for all kinds of fun characters you can try this with. As for hair, you'll have to create your own hair or mess around with the texture maps on other programs as well. But for this kind of character, it works quite well. So I think that's about it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Again, check out our forums at forum.reallusion.com, and I will see you next time.